What is going down, everyone? It's time for Mojobreak.com, The Hype, episode 296. We're on the road to 300, and we need ideas for you guys on what we should do for the special episode 300. We were thinking of 300 shots of beer, 300 ounces of beer, 300 shots of Jack Daniels. I don't know. Something like that. But if you guys want to join the Hype Community Facebook and give us some ideas on what we can do for episode 300, we've got a few tools in our tool belt already, but we want to hear from you guys what you guys would like to see, whether it be bringing back old segments, doing a special Guess That Price. I don't know what it could be, but let's hear you guys' thoughts on the Hype Community Facebook page. Also, we've got our all-access football, which is now live on Mojobreak.com. That gets you a break of every single football release for the entire year. So it's $99 a month. You get an exclusive 12% off any football break with your package, as well as 24-hour early access to the first case break of each football product before anybody else. So you can use that code and pick your favorite team before anybody else gets a shot. So lock that in. It's $99 right now for the month, or $1,000 a year, which saves you almost $200 if you do the year up front. And we're going to start with encased football. You get one box break of every single football product for the entire year. So it's about 44 releases that you get. So join that. Subscribe now. Save. I mean, if you think about the 12%, you buy a big enough team, you already make your money back just on getting the coupon code, and you get one random team in a box break for the entire year of football releases. It's right on the banner at Mojobreak.com, all access. Check that out. Today's show, we're going to go over the state of breaking. The article came out on ESPN. Some of you guys have read it already. If not, check it out. We're going to discuss our point of view. We've been doing this for over 12 years now, so we're going to see what we've said, the ups and downs, the good, the bad, all kinds of stuff. We're going to talk about Chronicles Soccer today, upcoming. We've got Finest Baseball. We're going to review Panini 1 NFL Select Basketball, Goodwin Champs. So we got a jam-packed show, sprinkling a little bit of national stuff as well. Man, it's good to be home. I was in Florida. I don't know how you people that live in Florida deal with that humidity. It's insane out there. Man, I actually figured out why they call things drip, because when you're in Florida, you're dripping. So it probably originated in Florida, is the saying. You know, you dress up nice in Florida, you drip. That's all I'm saying. Dan, how's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. That was a heck of an intro, man. I feel like, is the show over yet? That was a lot of words.
There's a lot of words.
A lot of words.
The tube was kinked up for a week. I got a lot to say now.
Pretty excited. The what?
You know when you have a water faucet.
I understood it.
What was kicked up for a week?
The hose.
Yeah, the hose, right. You know, when you got.
Oh, you're in on this too?
Yeah, no, I get it. Like,
you know,
the hose.
hose?
Yeah, exactly. I get it.
It all spurts out once you let it go.
Oh, dude,
precisely.
Come on.
A hose. We're talking about a garden
What's
hose.
wrong with you guys?
There's nothing more.
Get your mind out.
Did you guys drink out of the hose as a kid when you were on a hot day?
I'm here to
Okay,
talk about it.
I've met people who are like, why would you do that? I'm like, who are you?
Where else could you drink?
Right, exactly.
Pretty sure I did that as a kid,
Yeah,
too.
of course.
When you were out there playing smear or chase the football guy down, when you're playing that game and you're hot and you're dripping in that humidity of California, when we do have some, and you need a drink of water, you ain't running inside. You're getting it right out the hose.
Yeah, precisely.
Right?
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't. Different time though. Different time. I don't know if that's something that I would probably do now.
Yeah.
Like, are you going out in your front yard and you're just like,
oh, no. Here's the thing. As a kid, I think up until if you're like, I think when you hit like adulthood, essentially, when you hit 18,
your 18th birthday,
if you're drinking out of a water
you are
hose,
now officially, you cannot. It's kind of like trick or treating. You get to a point where you can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So trick or treating and drinking out of a water hose about the same thing.
About the same time length.
Okay.
Yeah. I think, if you're like a grown man, grown adult, 40 years old, drinking out of a water hose, you can't even have the excuse of like, look, it's my hose.
So hypothetically, you're 16 years old and it's Halloween night. You're going trick or treating. It is okay to start drinking out of your neighbor's garden hoses as you go up. You're all trick or treat. You're all a little thirsty. Let me get a little swig of water here. Move on to the next house. this is no problem. But
Especially if you're in Florida, you're going to need it. But, hey, maybe the water quality is worse now than it was when we were younger.
I don't know. Who knows?
there's definitely some more minerals in there.
It's minerals. It's good for you
Minerals,
then.
it's good for you.
So yeah, what's wrong?
Well, and the technology of having water on your fridge was less likely back then than it is now as well, right?
Yeah. I mean, speaking of that, though, I mean, how often do you change out your fridge filtration?
Too much. It's a couple months. It's too much. I think it's a Ponzi scheme. I think it's what
Well,
it is.
actually, I was. It's funny because I was just reading the instructions. I went online and I'm like, okay. I'm like, I bought my fridge a while ago, and I'm all, never changed it. And yeah,
worse than
supposedly
hose.
every 6 months, I just had a water filtration system put into my house, so I could drink out of the toilet now if I want.
oh, nice.
That's what that should be on episode 300. Toilet drinking, idiocracy time. Yeah, I mean, mine lets me know I'm the front of my fridge, but I think it happens too often.
Mine does not.
Yeah, it already tells me I need a new one. I swear I just replaced it like 3 months ago. So
Mine does not say that. What? Don't we have the same fridge?
it's an LG, I think.
Oh, I got the Samsung.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't tell me. It's like, you're fine.
Yeah. Anyways,
Do you have to disconnect the water?
No.
Okay, yeah, mine was like you have to disconnect the water, which I'd have to pull the refrigerator out, and like I'm not into moving refrigerators.
Are we talking? Are these the types of fridges where if you really wanted to, like, you could just binge television show? You know, you just pop on Netflix and binge, you know, whatever your show
I think
is,
the
The Witcher or
Samsungs,
whatever.
No,
Samsungs do it.
No, mine doesn't have a TV.
Some of them do.
Mine
Doesn't.
has you could knock on it.
Yeah,
and,
mine
and
does that
like,
one
and
too.
You could see inside of
Oh,
it without opening
nice.
Yeah, I
it.
have that one too. Yeah. You don't.
It
You
also
don't
makes-
ever use that though.
No,
Never.
I've actually never used it. I just know it
That's kinda
exists.
cool.
And
I've never seen that.
you can also like look on your phone. There's a camera in there to see if you're like at the grocery store and you want to see what's in your
I
refrigerator.
like that feature. That's why I
Never-
almost bought a Samsung.
Never used it.
Right.
And also, this is like I think we're selling Samsung
Yeah, we're
refrigerators
it's an
now.
appliance episode.
Craft
296.
ice, like the ice balls.
Never use them.
It makes those.
Love it.
Thought it was
Yeah.
the greatest idea ever. I've never used it.
Never
I mean,
used it.
if you drink like old fashions or Manhattans or something, like old
Yeah,
classic cocktails, that's a great thing
I
to
thought I
have.
was going to love it, but no.
I wanted to just put it in my water thing. And then there's never enough for a party because it only makes like 9. So if you have a party, then you're like, you only have, you're done.
And it just drops them into a tray.
It's loud, yeah.
And it's loud. I mean, it sounds like you're all cool, like something just crashed. I have a broken window now. No,
Sounds
it's just the craft ice ball dropping.
Sounds like Dan should have been at Michael Rubin's white party with the kind of fridge he has. I mean, geez, you didn't get an invite or?
I did not get an invite.
Man.
Next
I
year.
mean,
Plus, like, I don't like wearing all white, man. I mean, you walk around in that party for like what 6 minutes, and you're gonna touch something. You're gonna
Done.
be done.
Oh,
When's the last time you guys wore all white?
I mean, I'm wearing a white shirt right now, and I think there's a stain on there that I.
Well, yeah, you were in the trenches breaking right now.
Yeah, that's right.
There's no
So,
doubt.
I got a stain on there. That's an old stain. I
can't be
think.
eating
Right
no
there.
I don't know.
Cheetos and-
I call me old
Eating
school.
Cheetos and breaking.
Yeah, you can't be eating no Cheetos at the all white party.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as the night progresses, you figure out how bad someone is based on how dirty their white clothes are, right? So you spill a couple shots on it. I mean, the only time you'll catch me in white pants is if I'm playing baseball or football. So I won't wear white pants normally.
That's where that you just go straight to the white pants.
No, I said that's the only time you'll catch me wearing white pants. That's on my list of do not wears is white pants.
You can wear black pants.
What if
playing baseball.
What if we wear all white for episode 300?
Ah,
Now you're out of idea.
lighting's gonna be tough.
And all we do, we eat flaming hot Cheetos and see who has the messiest shirt at the end of it.
It's not a bad idea. Weigh in on the Hype community page. All right, let's get to this state of breaking. So the ESPN article came out. I think it was last week. I got a chance to read it while I was in Florida. The controversial rise and uncertain future of box breaks. And I believe this article was written by Ryan Hawkinsmith, and it is a good profile of our good buddy Rich Layton. Talks about his rise through the breaking industry and how he got started. But I think where it really paints the picture negatively is the gambling aspect of breaking, which is kind of one of those words that we haven't really talked about here. We try not to push people in that direction. And I think Rich did not know that this article was headed down this path. He thought it was just maybe a profile on him, but with the timing of everything, it spun that way, which is interesting with eBay's rules that are coming out, with Fanatics Live about to drop. So the G word being thrown in our industry is becoming more and more prevalent to, customers are now obviously aware of it. I mean, they most of the customers are aware of it anyway, but, it's one of the things I think for us as a company starting in 2010, we've never really kind of pushed people into gambling type games. We've always been against Razzes. That was one of the first things that popped up in our industry was in 2014. There was people doing Razzes. What Razzes is it's a raffle. You can't say raffle because raffles are illegal. So let's create a word called Razz. Razzing was huge in a single card market where everybody pays a 10% of the price of the card, and out of 10 people, there's one winner. So you could win a $200 card for $20, but 90% of the time, you're going to get nothing. So that was where it started to turn for us, was seeing that stuff happening. People also did what's called a filler. So if you have 10 spots left in a break, random team style, and the break spot's $60, well, we're going to sell 20 spots at $30. Half of you are going to win spots in the break, and half of you are going to get nothing. So that's already where the history kind of started turning against and making this seem like gambling. Then you introduce, after the Pandy, you've got Whatnot. You've got, maybe not so much Loop, but you have Whatnot. You have Drip. You have these platforms, and these guys are surviving and dominating based on gambling. They are pushing people. They're talking values. That's one of the things that, and I'm not saying that our direction's right or our direction's wrong. We just want our customers to feel like it's their choice that they got into a break. We didn't, push them into it by saying this card, you could hit a Tesla. You buy a $100 spot, you could get a Tesla. Or, you could buy a new house and all this other stuff. We've kind of swayed away from that. And I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back, but we just understood how this could be taken this way. And we've always threaded down that line, Dan, right? And we've never wanted to talk about values on the feed.
That's a Tesla.
Yeah.
That's a Tesla.
So, I mean, but we've had internal conversations. We've had internal conversations because at the end of the day, this stuff is cardboard. That's all it is it's cardboard. Now, there is some cards that have diamonds and gold and all that stuff in it, and you could necessarily put a value on the gold. But the card is the value of the card is in the perception of the eye of what somebody wants to pay for it.
Let's go back. I mean, let's go back in the Wayback Machine though. Let's go back to, and I'll basically date myself here. 89 Upper Deck. We're all chasing King Griffey Jr.
Right.
You were collecting at that time. I was collecting at that time. I would go to local card shops and I would get 89 Upper Deck. Am I not loud enough, Cody? I'm going to get 89 Upper Deck. I'll talk into the microphone a little bit louder. I'll project. There we go. I'd get 89 looking for King Griffey Jr. Why would I look for King Griffey Jr.? Why was I looking for King Griffey Jr. and not everybody else who was on the checklist?
Because he was the hottest rookie at the time.
No.
Because he was the most valuable in the Beckett book?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you would go to Beckett, you go to the price guide, and that was like $100 card raw. Like, and this is before grading. So $100, and with the arrow sign, was going up. That's a potential what? Like, those packs are like $3, $4 probably at that point. And you're trying to get a $100 card.
Mm-hmm.
You go back, and this, unfortunately, this like gambling mentality goes back even that much further back, like to 1989. So what's the difference between like joining a group break or going into your local card shop and ripping a box? Because you are looking to hit a card of more value than you paid for the box.
Yeah, and maybe that's what but they are. I mean, when we started with Top Series 1, 2011, and we were selling teams because people want to collect the Mets cards.
I get that, and I get that. But to play devil's advocate, like if you rip a box or you're into ripping wax, there is gambling aspect.
There is, but not every collector is a gambler.
True.
I know a great amount of collectors that don't, and they stick to your heritages. They stick to your Series 1s or your Donrusses. They build the sets. I mean, there's probably less set builders now. I feel like with the younger generation, it's fallen. Am I right, C-Rad? The younger generation has less likely to be happy about getting a Camilo Duvall card than to get a Wembanyama card, right? It's all about whoever's the hottest at the moment with the younger generation. So they've came in, and gambling laws have changed. Gambling with DraftKings, with FanDuel and all this stuff, and making gambling more accessible. They've maybe pivoted into that, and I think they've had a lot of influence over this industry. Am I right in thinking that? Because you kind of came in. We were in 2010. You were like in 14, right? So you were kind of breaking was still probably at the same progression as when we started when you came in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, were you drawn in by the gamble of it, or were you drawn in by the sport of it?
For me, I mean, anybody that knows my history with cards, for me, and I tell people this all the time, my favorite part of everything that we ever do here is the excitement of not knowing what you're going to get out of these packs. Like, so that goes back to me as a kid, and Dan's right. Like, I was chasing Marshall Faulk and Emmitt Smith cards when I was young. In the early 90s, opening packs. Those are the cards I wanted because I looked in my Beckett book. I was like, oh, if you get this holographic Marshall Faulk, it's like worth $40. I was like excited about that. And, and the excitement of just ripping packs, that's what drew me back to the hobby in the early 2010s. And, it really is the joy of like, not necessarily selling it, but like just obtaining that card or whatever player I'm collecting at that moment. So, yeah, that's how I came back into it. That's always been how I've looked at this hobby, right? Is from the happiness you get from just an excitement you get from opening a pack and not knowing what you're gonna get.
And then go to Cody. I know you collected a little bit in the 90s. What was the sentiment for you? Was it more like stats at the back? Were you looking for certain players?
I was always like, I don't think as a kid the idea of making money off the cards ever went through my mind. Now, I was collecting kind of after the like in like a weird spot. Like, I feel like nobody has any sort of nostalgia for like 2000 to like 2008 collecting.
Those are glory. The glory years.
That was when I was. I started.
The LeBron
it was
glory
like
years.
it was right. Well, yes, there's LeBron, of course, but
Were
like
you not collecting 0304 Chrome?
Well, I know. Well, but I feel like though it was like post junk wax, so people didn't feel as like that thrill of like, oh, you're gonna make a ton of money off of it. It's like, no, it's not worth anything.
It was actually quite the opposite, I believe. It was like, oh no, you collect sports cards, because the whole idea of the junk wax was still fresh in people's minds.
Right.
Like, oh, cards were worth money, but then we found out that they were not worth money. So why are you doing this?
Exactly.
You're wasting your money by buying trading cards, regardless if it makes you happy and you like collecting. They're not worth as much as they are. I mean, you probably had a lot of that with kids who are Pokemon collectors as well. Their parents were probably like, why are you wasting your money on Pokemon cards?
And that's exactly what it was. I started with Pokemon, and then it became baseball, but it was never, ever about money. I think Pokemon a little bit, because some of the Charizard stuff was like, you got a Charizard, it felt big. Like, you had something there. But for me, it was always about just collecting, about collecting my favorite team. Like, I probably got cards that were really good as a kid, but I still would be bummed because I'm like, well, I didn't get any Giants cards, so that was a waste of $10 for me. So for me, when I come back into this and it's like, oh, this is fun. I remember how fun it was to collect this and see all the fun art on the cards and all that, and then it's like the money making side happens to be a nice perk on top of this hobby that I
Cody's
like.
I was looking for a giant. I got this stupid Clayton Kershaw rookie.
Stupid Clayton
Oh,
Kershaw.
no, Clayton
Who's this
Kershaw is
guy?
I know, right?
I got this dumb angel, Mike Trout. Ah, God. I really wanted John Bowker.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I mean, I'll add that like 100%. Like me outside of sports cards in general, I will say 100%. I'm just a collector of things. So being like sports cards when I was a kid was one of those things I just enjoyed doing, obviously. And I like collecting. I like collecting all type of things. So when I saw this industry start evolving, right in the late 2000s, early 2010s with you guys and with Chad, and I saw what you guys were doing, it made so much sense to me, because it was like, now I do have a chance at going after some of these high dollar cards that I only would ever dream about, because it's splitting the price with other collectors to get into certain products that I would never be able to buy on my own, right? So I saw that and I was like, that makes so much sense to me to do it this way, how you guys were doing it.
Yeah.
Because then I started being like, okay, I couldn't afford cards when LeBron was coming out, his rookie cards. Even back then, like obviously I was a high school student, so I didn't have a lot of disposable income. But I was like, this Andrew Wiggins kid, 2014. There's a lot of hype behind him. I like him. Like I think that's the guy that I want to collect for 2014. That's really what brought me back.
Yeah, and I mean, look at it. This piece, and I can't deny that the industry has headed that way. I mean, you see a card sell for $1 million. That's insanity, right? So then you are approaching, big payoffs of this stuff. I mean, we started doing breaks. I mean, I think it was like RG3, Andrew Luck era. Those were like selling for $200 to $300 when you'd pull it. Box prices were a fraction of what they were now, and that was something big for us then. And now you're looking at these logo mans, these triple logo mans that we pulled and stuff that are six-figure cards, and it is insane. And it's opened up some regulation. It's opened up that question, and there is a gray area. There's a gray area that we don't know what's going on. But at the same time, in the world, you're seeing a lot more gambling with sports that in the past states have legalized. Arizona's got casinos, sports betting casinos now. So things have changed. I don't want to say it's gambling. I think it's your choice. Obviously, there is that element of you getting something that's of more value. I think what's pushing it over the edge is the way some of these new businesses are conducting business. And that's the only thing that they know how to do. That's what they came in. They watched the guy do it. They're doing it the same way that guy's doing it because that's their generation. Auctioning off a certain amount to get a certain card, but then if you buy, if you go over a certain amount on auction, then you have 3 chances at a pull and you get to keep one. And we're really like getting to the point like where you're at a blackjack table and you have that like extra little 21 spot, the little $5, and if you get a 21, you get an extra,
they call those
10 to 5.
Bets,
Yeah. So like we're getting in these tactics because
I love them though.
People have to move so much volume during the era of the pandemic. The distributors that held all the cards, no pun intended, were rising the cost of the product so that the new guys that came in were paying more than we ever did, and then we were actually getting less, and they had to figure out ways to make more money on already skyrocketing cases like $20,000, $30,000 cases. Well, how do you do that? You got to confuse the customer, and we've never taken that route. But in order for them to survive, they've confused the customer. They've added more in. They've mixed stuff so you can't figure out what value. And I think that's what's opened up this conversation, and that's also made Michael Rubin and Fanatics also wanting to get in this industry by seeing these high-dollar cards, getting involved with athletes, and so I mean, I think you're going to see some sort of regulation. eBay's already taken the first step. We'll see how that happens when that rolls out. But I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? I mean, I don't think the regulation is going to be good by any means.
I think at the end of the day, like getting back to like card selling for X amount of dollars, a card is only worth what somebody is willing to pay for it. So like, it's not like the manufacturers are coming out and saying, you pull this card, it's worth X amount of dollars.
Right.
They are not. I mean, let's not blur the lines here. They're not. There's stated odds on the back of some boxes and some packs, but they don't state a monetary value. It's only worth what somebody is willing to pay for it on an open market like eBay or ComC or something like that. So that is where I think the manufacturers are safe because
they are, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here because I agree with you. It's the same thing as if somebody paints an art piece and that guy, somebody pays $20 million for that art piece because the guy's a famous artist. But the way that it's distributed, I think, is what's the biggest question is I feel like there is some transparency issues on where cases are going. I'm not saying there's any juice cases, so don't quote me on that. But I'm saying there's no this guy's a redemption. This guy in Bowman, like did one guy sign 50, one guy sign 1,000? We don't know. So there's a lot of transparency issues there that I think could be cleaned up and fixed so that the person that's buying knows exactly what their chances are, knows that they're guaranteed certain cards. I think that can be cleaned up because we don't know certain things. It's all kind of kept in the dark, but that's what's also made the mystique of why things sell, because the less people know, the better, right? I mean, it's kind of a slippery slope. I mean, the hobby's fun, but like, somebody's going to go backwards and buy a 2020. I mean, we've seen this come up all the time. 2020 contenders, and they want a Joe Burrow auto, and they bought that 2020 contenders. Well, Joe Burrow's a redemption, and he's expired. Mm-hmm. How many buyers know that? That's not transparency.
I think if we go back, I think Upper Deck. I don't know if they do it anymore, but they used to like tier their auto subjects.
Yeah.
So you would have like tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, and then you'd have the odds for tier 1, tier 2, and
They
tier 3.
still do that.
So is that going down the path that you're saying when it comes to transparency? Like, what if manufacturers do go to that tiered system? Does that make you feel better that like there's a certain player that is going to be a lot harder to hit? Does that deter you from wanting to buy that product?
No, it probably would deter some people, yeah. But I don't want them to number cases, but that could be another way of transparency too, is if the cases are numbered. But then some may say if the cases are numbered, then they know where each product's in there. So I guess it's a double-edged sword.
I don't know why. I think doing the tiered system would alleviate that concern that you have, like especially with like Bowman, right? First overall pick may have signed 200 base autos.
Right.
But pick number 750th may have signed 4,000 base autos. And as a consumer of said product, we don't know that.
Right.
We have no idea.
Right.
If you were to tier it out, you'd be like, okay, well, I know the chances of getting a tier 1 player are 1 in 7,000 packs. But getting an auto of a tier 3 player is 1 in 24 packs.
Right. I mean, perfect example, 2016. I don't know how many cases we ripped, and then we didn't get one Vladimir Guerrero Jr. auto. But I'm sure there's a guy, insert name here, pitcher for some team, that we get in every case. So if you do the math, then why are we not getting a Vladimir Guerrero as often as we're getting said pitcher? Because Vladimir Guerrero may have costed more.
Well, I think without a doubt.
Or they made them they want you to chase them.
But without a doubt, like, at the end of the day, the product is made and the manufacturer needs to make money. If Vladimir Guerrero is $75 an auto, then you're going to have a limited amount of Vladimir Guerrero autos you can put in there. And if you are going to put in more, what happens to the price? It goes up, right? So then we have people complaining that the box price, instead of being $150, is $350.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these are all concerns about of everything. I mean, hobby's still fun. I mean, do you guys that are listening here want somebody to come in and tell us businesses how to do business? I don't think so. I think it's not really broken right now. I think there could be, from my point of view, there could be more transparency from the manufacturers. Like I said, checklist faster, redemption. Who's going to be redemption? I mean, that's one thing that nobody does, is who is a redemption in this product.
And that's something that is known, right? If the checklist is coming out, we know who's in the product. We know who the redemptions are as the pack out process is going on. Somebody has to. Why can't we make a note of that on the checklist that said player is, I mean, the only way that you can get away with this is if you just don't have redemptions expire.
Right.
But if you're going to put an expiration date on redemptions, then you should be letting the customer know who is a redemption before they rip the product.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess they're looking at it like they're not going to have the product in 2 years, so it doesn't matter. That kind of seems selfish in a sense. Also, on a side note,
but you're not going to have full sell-through of that product. That product is not going to be 100% ripped. Like there is. I mean, we could go back and find any product that we want. There are products out there. There's a price point for everything. There is sealed wax of every single year. There's no
but the manufacturer doesn't have it anymore.
They don't, but there's no product that's out there that has 100% ripped modern product. Let's like not get crazy. I don't want people saying like
Buy some
Yeah,
56,
yeah,
52.
some
Right.
some turn of the century like tobacco cards, like
Yeah, I mean it's something to keep up on, and like I said, this piece was great for Leighton, but also kind of just painted the picture in an aspect.
I felt it was definitely more positive than
it was more
negative.
positive, but you have influencers speaking out. You have Rob Veras from Burbank Sports Cards, the Card Father, saying that he feels like customers need to go into a shop because box breaks 85% of people lose out. He's like, but when people walk in my shop, they get the full experience.
And that you don't think that's biased opinion?
Well, it's 100% bias, yeah.
Yeah, because he does his business in his brick and mortar shop. It's a great shop. Right. It's a great shop, one of the biggest in the country. But he has a biased opinion based on that because he is not in the group break category.
Right, and his shop probably 10x at our shop, 20x.
No,
at our shop.
I said a lot of good things.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said, then
Yeah.
bam.
Yeah, I mean he's always been a proponent of it, and I think he sees the opportunity to state his opinion on that, and that's fine. He's got his opinion, and he's doing well, and that's fine. But I think the accessibility, not everybody has a Burbank Sports Cards on their block or in their town or even in their state. So a lot of these people have to go online in order to find people to either rip their box for them or get in a box break, and nobody has. Not a lot of people have $1,000 to buy a box of something where they could spend $50 to $100. And I think people are well aware of their chances of not getting something. I think that's the issue is we're trying to come out and protect people from themselves. But I think everybody that's involved and gets into breaks kind of knows that there's a possibility that they may just get base cards as opposed to getting that one auto there.
I mean, I think what we're going to see, and we already do this, I think, and we do a lot of products that are not typical group break products, like not the hit-based stuff. Like we rip everything, every single SKU. We ship everything out. A lot of the breaks are not super exciting because of the pack configuration. But I think at the end of the day, the way the regulation is going to stand, the way I see it, is that if somebody buys into a group break, they're going to have to get something in return.
Yeah.
That be something, base cards of said team, something. There's going, like, you cannot sell something and not give somebody a goods or service in return.
I mean, Cody, now you've been in this like from day one to now. What is your opinion on? Has it gone more towards gambling since you've been in here? Has it gone more towards the collector? What's your opinion?
I think that there are certain people, certain outlets that I think lean more heavily into the gambling side of things. To me, it's still about the collector. It's still about, and I think when it all comes back to it, and I feel like there has been, especially post-peak, there has been, I think, a bigger push among sort of like a grassroots community of, and we see it with some, some content that calls out bigger names in this industry that seems to be pretty popular among collectors. I think there is sort of a grassroots effort of like, we need to sort of take this hobby back as like what it's all about, which is about collecting. It's about, that's why we all,
I love.
Yeah, the hobby I love. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I don't even have to say the name. But there is that effort to bring it back to why we like doing this in the first place. The money, again, is a great it's a great thing to have as like, oh yeah, and by the way, some cards are worth a lot of money. And I also think that in the long run, whichever way the wind blows on this thing, whether it be more regulation, whether it be, some intervention where we have to really everybody has to kind of come to terms, take a step back at like, what exactly is everyone doing? What do we call this? I think it's going to be fine because everybody who is in charge of this, i.e. the big head, the Topses, the Fanatics, the Paninis, they are about 10 miles ahead and ready for whatever hammer comes down. They are ready, and they will be like, I guess to put it bluntly, like if there are some, not every state has sports gambling legalized, and has there ever been a bigger backer of it than Fanatics, if that is the case, where we know they kind of want to get their hands in that. We know that's something that they've been looking into. And if it comes to that, well, there's going to be a whole heck of a lot of money to get behind it to get those things off the ground and legal.
Well, and I think you hit it on the head there, and I think that's why this is even brought to the light now, because you have such a big conglomerate that's involved. I mean, Michael Rubin was hanging out with Kardashian and Jay-Z and Tom. Not Tom.
Which Kardashian?
All of them. They were all there.
All of them?
Yeah. Kim was there. Kylie was there. I mean, she's not a Kardashian.
I'd just like to say we have gone from the biggest Kardashian in this hobby was Rob, and now it's all of them
Well,
hanging out with at least figureheads of the hobby.
still want a Kim
I'm not saying Kim K's picking up a box of Series 2 in the shop or something, but
she's aware of it.
What do you think? What do you think Kim K is ripping? Like if she's gonna do a little personal box. What's she ripping?
It's got to be basketball, right?
It's probably not. I'd definitely say
She's going to be looking for that Chris Humphrey rookie auto somewhere.
Topps Heritage. Yeah, no, she loves it loves the hobby. She's into Topps Heritage.
No, I mean, I don't think she went to that party knowing that Michael Rubin has a card.
None of those
now.
people that was at his white party knows that Michael Rubin is involved with cardboard.
No, exactly. Yeah. But what I'm saying is like
true.
You've got that guy who throws a party for 375 people: Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Brady, Robert Kraft, Jack Harlow,
Ben Affleck.
Beyonce.
Anybody who's all A-listers are there.
Man,
and
our invitation must have got lost.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Come on, Michael. I mean,
sorry guys, I meant to actually forward you that email. It just
See,
it's
I
been
knew.
spam.
I knew. Yeah, I went
it went
straight
to spam.
But what I'm saying is that.
I was actually
now
there.
you have but before they bought all the licenses and they're starting to do what they're doing, you just had Topps, Panini, and Upper Deck, and nobody was going to talk about this stuff because they were just coincidentally they may have lawsuits here and there, but nobody was going to talk about this gray area that we're talking about now. But you got this huge business, and then you have people that are affected by this huge business, like a la eBay, a la maybe Whatnot, all these other companies going like, what can we do? Well, maybe eBay's pulling back and they're trying to get some regulations on case breaks. They stopped case breaks. So now they know Fanatics has a betting site. So they're going to make it harder for Fanatics. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. But this is all chess games beyond what our pay scale is that's happening behind the scenes by corporations. I don't know who owns eBay. I don't know if they're involved with, ESPN or Disney or whatever they could be involved with to get like a piece like this to come out at this time right before Fanatics Live drops. But I mean, I'm sure there's some kind of moving and shaking behind the scenes for everybody trying to protect their piece of the pie in the collectibles community with the big giant that's coming around, that's got J-Lo, that's got partying with C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Tom Brady, all these guys that are already on the team. And they're like, we got to protect this. These are things that we're doing. I'm not saying this is happening, but it's funny that this is all happening now, right before Fanatics Live comes out, right before Fanatics has put restrictions on card stores, things like that. All this kind of stuff is now happening. So I think it's, CEOs and people that have seats at the table that are kind of working behind the scenes and putting this information out and helping this information go out. Like I said, this is just my point of view. I don't have any insider information, but I think the timing of this is interesting. We just heard that Mojobreak is doing a Fanatics Live rip at the All-Star game. So is Fanatics Live going to be are they going to have randoms? Are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? eBay may say, hey, you're not doing it the right way by the law. And then there's going to be some kind of battling in between. Fanatics may say, hey, you can't sell on eBay. You can't do breaks on eBay anymore. Fanatics may say, you can't do breaks on Whatnot anymore. We control the supply. So there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that's making stuff like this come to be. When you had Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, they were selling to distributors. They didn't care about any of this stuff. Now it's about data, and then you throw in Fanatics' IPO. They're going to get initial public offering. They're trying to get their price up as high as they can before it goes public. A lot of stuff going on. That's just hobby's just gotten almost too big here now. And it's also declining at the same time, right? Prices are going down. So it's interesting to see what's going to come to be with this kind of regulation stuff. Maybe it'll just float under the rug. Maybe we won't even be talking about it next week, but it's something.
So you want to go to the next Transcendent party with me dressed all in white suits and just act super confused? Like,
I think it's the white
That
party.
would
You
be
mean?
yeah, is
that
this
would
that?
be hilarious.
No, this is how we get invited, right?
I was actually there though at the white
It would
party.
it'd be hilarious.
Were you there?
Yeah.
It'd be hilarious.
They said make sure 6.5 gets in. I walked in there. Tom's like 6.5. Holy, what's going on, man? I own your team now. I'm like, I know, bro.
Did he give you the inside scoop? He's like, hey, but don't tell anyone. I'm starting.
He's like,
one.
Cody's wrong. I'm not going to be playing quarterback
He
this
said
year.
he's right. Hey, that guy on the
He
podcast
said he's coming
with
to the
you-
Niners, right?
Okay.
But he said he's very happy to be part of the Raider black and silver squad. Okay. And I'm like, thank you, sir.
Could you imagine if there was?
I mean, commitment to excellence.
Transcendent-
It says it's written right there.
how much would a transcendent party
here,
be? Transcendent set that gets you to the white party.
I'm like, if you were actually to coordinate and just all sit at one table at the transcendent party and everybody's dressed in white, just like, but you're just like, cool. Like, when do we go to the all white party? Yeah. Like, is this is like the cocktail hour, right? We're just waiting, like, who's gonna pick us up?
It's called the white party. I wouldn't put that other word you just put in there at first there. It's mostly you're wearing all white.
All white.
Sure.
Whatever, be politically correct there.
I wore, apropos of nothing, I wore an all-white tux to my junior prom in high school. Bad look. Real bad. I thought it was cool. Not at all.
What color was
I'd
your
show
tie?
up. Show up at the
White.
So what happens? What
all
happens if you
white.
show up and you're just like, I had an invite, but I did not get the memo of what you're supposed to be.
Yeah, I'm wearing all black. Sorry.
Like, do you probably don't get in, right?
I think he said there was like 90 security guards there.
But you probably don't get in, right? Like, no matter who you are. Like, what if Tom Brady shows up and he just has like a blue shirt on?
I think there's certain people that might not get in. Tom Brady gets in no
matter
matter what.
Does somebody come out and they're like, we got you a white shirt?
It also, it strikes me as the kind of party of like, hey, don't worry, we got
or
clothes.
we have backups. Like, we have
Right.
we have a whole wardrobe area where you could just go in and get fitted.
To circle this back around to the hobby, LeBron wasn't there, so I'm sure Upper Deck's like, got him. He's still with us.
And where
still on the team.
where was this? Was this party like in L.A.?
Yeah,
Or,
Hamptons.
it was in New York.
Yeah.
Oh, was? Okay.
Yeah,
Hamptons.
But I'm saying LeBron James, doesn't seem like a guy that
Damn
that
spam
drinks,
folder
but-
gets us every time.
But LeBron James, I'm sure had an invite. I'm sure, right?
Steph
Sure he
probably
had
had
an invite?
Steph probably had an invite too.
Steph wasn't there either. But
What were you? You said something like this? It's 375.
yeah, I don't know if this is true, but I heard it's 375 people get invited, A-listers, and then every year he cuts 75. So if you've kind of ran down the rankings,
Man, that hurts the old ego. Because if you were there last year and then like you're all hey, like, is it in my spam folder? Did I not? You're like, my career is on a decline. Like,
Yeah,
it is over.
like R. Kelly was probably one of the first ones, but
Whoa.
then he couldn't. He wasn't involved in the next one or something.
I was gonna say.
When do
Ben
you think?
Simmons.
When do you think these parties started?
It's a little
That's
tight
the
up.
first one that came to mind. Yeah, Ben Simmons was probably early on because he was a Sixer at one point.
Ben
right?
Simmons, I'm sure, was at these white parties previous years, and he is not there anymore.
Markel Fultz?
I mean, he can't be
No,
there. He's an
Marco
upper
Fultz
deck.
was
He's
never-
an upper
Even
deck
though he was
guy,
the
so-
first overall pick, you don't think Markel Fultz?
You got to be kind of like a part of the in crowd.
Yeah.
Who's the person that really fell off that could have been at the party and then not there this year? Maybe they were last year, this year. And then
Ooh, last year.
last year, and they did not make the cut this year.
That's got to be a big fall.
maybe Will Smith.
Will Smith.
Will Smith. Yeah.
Do we think did that far? I mean, he's still.
I don't know.
Will Smith,
Kareem
though.
wrote a really an interesting piece about Will Smith, how he thought it was a step back for what he's done as a community. And but he understands what happened. But Will Smith did not win.
That is a great question, though. Like, because do people really fall off that quick in a year?
I mean, that was pretty bad. I will say tell me if this is a hot take. Everyone needs to calm down about that. I mean,
Everybody does, but-
everybody chill. Like, yeah.
The Will Smith
And you know
thing?
what? We should be thanking him. He gave us one of the most, like, in a time where we don't have those type of moments on live TV anymore. Like, where everybody's talking about it. Everybody watches their own things. He gave us a moment where every single person in the country, in the world, maybe, was like, we all saw the slap, and that was funny.
Well, we were in the airport, weren't we? We were coming back from the Mints.
I was in a car flying back or driving back.
Right, because you drove back with Shane.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were like, what the heck? Everybody was talking about it at the airport.
There
Well,
were.
gotta
I
see
mean,
this.
there
We
was
were talking
two.
about two things.
There was two things. There
Drake
was
opening
there
up-
was Drake
Yeah.
Drake opening up flawless, and
The Will Smith slap.
the Will Smith slap.
That was
Going on
the
at
funniest
exact
part.
Same time.
yeah.
That was the funniest part because I can't remember who said it, but it was like, "Oh, did you see what's happening?" I'm like, "Yeah, Will Smith slapped Chris Rock." Like, what? No, Drake's opening with Ken Holland, but wait, what?
I know. I was like trying to watch it on
But
a
I
plane.
mean, how much did because Chris Rock went on a tour after
and
that,
he benefited from it.
and he benefited from it.
Big time,
And he took the slap well. I mean, if there was ever a way to take a slap, he took it.
absolutely.
He took it. He revitalized his career, but we're not. I haven't seen an announcement of like Bad Boys 4 or anything coming up.
Like
so.
Charlie Sheen was invited to the white party and maybe not invited now. You think that?
Zero chance.
Well, unfortunately, it almost
like
seems,
grandfathered in.
It almost seems like judging by the pictures that we're taking, you might age out unless you're a few. You're a few of the legends like Tom Brady or like.
I saw Ben Affleck there, and I feel like there's a part of me that's like Ben Affleck might be one of the oldest guys there, and he's not an old man.
He's Batman.
Did
What,
Ben
just turned 50
Affleck
maybe?
did him with J-Lo? Did
That was a
help,
package deal.
Did that
Yeah,
help?
100%.
Did that help
That
Ben
helps.
Affleck get
Yes,
in?
yeah.
Like,
1000%.
if would that been an invitation with just Ben? Like, where's Matt Damon?
I was gonna say Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
Did,
maybe a
did Matt
package
Damon
deal.
not? Did he not make it?
He's not. He probably did get invited, but he probably didn't go.
That's not Damon. That's not Matt Damon's vibe. I feel like that's not his vibe.
And Jordan never goes to any
I
of
think
these
it's
parties.
Ben Affleck's vibe.
Oh, it's 100% Ben Affleck.
No.
Oh yeah, Ben
I
Affleck's
think
part of the in
J-Lo
crowd,
wanted to
dude.
go, and he was like, "I really prefer to stay home tonight."
Nah, dude,
But-
Ben is probably more crazy partier than J-Lo.
Party animal.
Well, he's got to get up and teach those stockbrokers how to sell in the morning. You know what I mean? The boiler room. You know.
Boiler.
Anyways. But yeah, that's the greatest Ben Affleck movie of all time. Let's get into. I mean, we've kind of covered the state of breaking. We'll see what's going on. But like I said, from us as a company, we've always towed the line of like not really talking about value too much. I mean, we do guess that price in the show, but during breaks, we try not to say, because honestly, I mean, you may pull a Wembanyama card that sells for $1,000 today, but maybe Wembanyama's, he's like, I'm into lacrosse tomorrow, and then all of a sudden that card is now worth $5. So if I say, hey, I think that card's worth $1,000, and then you wind up selling it for $600, you're gonna be like, Mojobreak told me it was worth $1,000. They lied to me. So we don't toe that line. We also don't do any kind of stuff that's gonna like razz or half the price. We just kind of keep breaking regular and have it that way. Not saying that's better than anybody else. It's just the way that we've done the business, and we try to continue it that way. Keep it wholesome. We don't cuss on break lives because we don't know if there's a kid watching. Try to keep it family friendly. Try to have fun. That's just kind of always been our MO, which is different from some of the guys that have pushed this into where we're talking about now. So some of the guys on Whatnot, which I appreciate the way they do business. Not our style, but I think that's what's brought this stuff to light to make a closing statement here. So let's go into some reviews. Panini 1. C-Rad busted a lot of Panini 1. 2022 Panini 1. If you had to grade this on a scale of 1 to 10 as a product review, what are you saying?
Man, all right, I'll give you the full review, somewhat full review. If we're going just from a design standpoint, it's like a 9 out of 10.
Whoa.
Design wise, there's a lot of cool stuff in there. There's the Formula One dual patch autos I think are beautiful.
Those are new, yeah. Those are
the
nice.
new Wonders, it's called the Wonders, which looks like a Kaboom with the autograph. Those are awesome because it's also like has that same kind of cartoon drawing of the players. Just in general, a lot of the shadow box acetate stuff looks great. From a design standpoint, it's A1, like same design as 1-on-1 basketball for the most part for a lot of the cards. But from a value standpoint, it's got to be like 3 out of 10. So I'm gonna average that score. I'm gonna give it maybe like a 5 out of 10 on this one.
Perfect.
I mean, how many Brock Purdy's did you pull?
0.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's right. It's not in the product.
Perfect.
It's not in the product.
Perfect opportunity there to do a 6.5.
No,
Like,
no,
because if you're like a 3 in value and a 9 in design,
I know, but like if I was grading on my scale, a 6.5 scale, then it would actually be like a 2 out of 6.5.
We could just call it a true 6.5.
Well, I mean, if you think about this product going forward, it's going to be hard next year. It's going to be real hard. So if it's already value-wise, I mean, yeah, $450 a box for one card. We went through a lot of cases, and there's a lot of $25 to $50 cards coming out of your $450 box. You take into account you're going to have C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Will Levis not signing with Panini next year. They either need to create another parallel of some sort, or one should be affordable next year.
Let's talk about. Well, there was Surge, right?
Surge, and I'm happy to report
What's Surge?
the box
that is-
it's a new
that's-
insert. It
it's a
looks like a black
SSP.
color blast.
It's non-autoed.
It's not autoed, but it's a metal card as well.
I'm refraining from calling it a soft drink that came out.
Yeah,
in the
that's what
late
I thought.
90s,
I was
so-
like,
Yeah,
Mountain
we-
Dew Surge.
We brought it up last week.
Yeah,
trust me.
Okay.
Yeah,
you guys, I missed that one.
We talked about it. It was Coca-Cola's answer to Pepsi's Mountain Dew.
Correct.
Right.
Well, what's the answer to Pepsi's Clear?
garbage.
New
no,
New
what-
Coke.
what is Pepsi clear?
actually, the thing is that
Crystal Pepsi, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Coca-Cola watched Pepsi make Crystal Pepsi,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, "You can die on that sword."
Is it
like we're not going. We're not. No. You've never had Crystal Pepsi?
They brought it back. They brought it back.
It's just the
a couple
coloring
years
is
ago.
clear instead of
yeah,
brown.
but it kind. I guess it kind of tastes like cola, right? Like,
It's supposed to taste exactly like Pepsi. It's just
but it
clear.
does not.
It doesn't.
It does
doesn't.
not.
I tried it a couple years ago. They brought it back, and I'm like, well, I have to try
So
it.
they had to use some
I don't
type
know
of
if it was the
coloring
same
to make
formula.
it clear.
Even as a kid, when it originally came out, I mean, every kid loves soda, right? I would drink that, and I'm all, I don't even really like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I should love it, but I don't even like it.
Well, you know what, and that's a whole other thing is to talk about like the drink wars, because you can't go to a place. We can't go to a place and unless it's a mom and pop, and you're like, I want a Pepsi and I want a Coke. It's not possible. It just doesn't happen because they've already worked out licensing agreements. You go to the airport. I've been to every airport, or I've probably been to 15 of them. I can't find this drink anywhere. Rockstar's nowhere because Monster is the only drink that's in all the airports.
Coca-Cola.
Right. I don't know who makes this one. I don't think it's Pepsi. I think they're their own company. But they basically said, you are going to stock Monster, and we're going to get that pipeline going for you. You can't
No,
stock
I mean,
anything
it's
else.
the same thing because I believe, like, if you go to an airport and you go in a little convenience area, Dasani is the water that you
Yep.
get.
Yep. Or Smart Water.
Or Smart Water, which are all Coca-Cola brands.
Yeah. So, or if you go to Taco Bell, I think it's one or the other. I think it might be
It's
Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Yep. And McDonald's is Coke.
Is Coke.
Right. I mean, obviously, the greatest soft drink ever known to man over at Taco Bell is Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Of course.
Yeah.
But I was going to say the three worst words in the English language is Pepsi okay. No, it's never okay. It's never okay. I want Coke.
Yeah,
I want
I want
Coke.
Coke.
Is Pepsi okay?
Because whenever you go to a restaurant, you
Yeah.
go, can I get a Coke? Is Pepsi okay? Like,
Or Sprite is-
it used to.
little
Well,
party
now
guys.
it was like, yeah, I know you're gonna go. It's like, oh, we don't have Sprite. We have Sierra Mist.
Oof.
But
Even
now,
worse.
but now it's like now it's Starry, and you're just like, I don't know what that is.
Why they change the names?
Dude, I know
what it
some
is.
people are. I know, like, obviously, Cody, you are one of these people, but
Uh-huh.
I never really. Okay, I might have a slight preference for one, but for me, the difference between Coke and
This is
Pepsi
great.
is so minuscule. It's
No.
like, I
Are okay? First off, maybe we don't even wait until 300. We need to have like 4 or 5 different colas.
Are we doing the
and have
Pepsi
it-
challenge?
And have a taste test.
hey man, I'll drink
I-
any cola.
Coca-Cola and Pepsi, night and day.
Which is funny because
Absolutely.
Pepsi tastes sweeter, but it's less sugar.
Bro,
than Coke.
I agree with you guys. I prefer Coke, but I'm not a stickler for it. Like,
No.
if they only have Pepsi, I'm drinking a Pepsi. That's all I'm saying.
I can't remember. I can't remember the last time I
Is
went into
Dr.
a
Pepper
convenience
is
store.
Dr. Pepper Pepsi or is that Coke?
No,
That's its own
That is
thing.
its own. 7-Up and Dr. Pepper.
I think so.
Yeah, but they've intertwined.
RC Cola.
Then there's Mr. Pibb. Who's Mr. Pibb?
Mr.
I
Pibb
think
is
that's
Coke.
Coke. Yeah.
Oh.
Look, what we're trying to say is the surge insert is fine.
Bring it back around.
what I'm trying to say is that what we were talking about last week, I was worried that the surge would just straight up replace a hit, but there's a hit with the surge insert in a box, so it's actually Panini 1-in-1 football.
I like that.
So what do? We do like the
So
box
people just weigh
there
boxes
and
at that point then and find out
I
what the
knew,
surge is.
dude. If you watch I did 10 cases this weekend. The very last case Sunday night, my last case that I did. You could watch that stream, guys. You guys can go back and watch it. I grabbed this box. I'm like, whoa, this is heavier than anything I've ever lifted this week.
Surge.
And I knew the surge was in there.
Did
and
you
it was in
scream?
there.
Did you go surge?
See, when I say surge, when I hear surge, I think I'm gonna be paying a lot more for an Uber. Is what I'm thinking, because it's
Surge
surge
costs.
pricing.
So I think to answer your question, what they have to do next year is turn it into Panini 1-in-1 football.
Yeah, you gotta put a base card in there.
They have to put a base card in there, and then there has to be sought after SPs like the surge or like a downtown.
Yeah, because I mean, even the 99 base cards, if you get a rookie or something, it's still gonna be worth something. you
Like
know?
and if you can get a Stroud rookie base card or a Bryce Young rookie base card out of a high end product like that, it's more valuable.
I also want to say though, like, Panini doesn't come out and make this product and dictate what the market price is going to be. They didn't come out and say, hey, we're going to make this product and it's going to sell for $450 to $500. That is the pure supply and demand of the product and different distribution channels and online retailers that created that market at $450, $500. Panini didn't put resources in this product for it to be that market price. So that is why if you open up a box and you do get a $25 card, the retail price was not supposed to be $500.
Right.
We've talked about it before. I feel like I got to talk about it again, and defend the manufacturers from this standpoint because
but we don't know if they are doing surge pricing or whatever they call it, the dynamic pricing.
Dynamic pricing.
We don't know if they're doing dynamic pricing, but
are we ever going to get to a point here in this industry, this hobby, and what we do? Are we ever going to get to a point where it truly is the market that dictates the prices of these? Because it happens after the release. But I'm talking about pre-release.
I think we see it with Dutch auction, first off the line stuff.
Bit.
But the issue with that is that there's a base price because a lot of the online retailers are already putting up the regular release of that product. So at that point, if it's $450 for said product, the FOTL release from the Dutch auction isn't going to get much below the $450 because there's already been a baseline set.
Yeah, but I don't know where they come up with the one. Well, the one was first off the line, right? There was a first off the line.
There was
one?
a first off the line. I don't know what it sold for. It probably sold for too much.
It was probably like $600.
It was too much.
$700.
And that was last week's release. This week we've got a bunch of releases dropping on Friday. So you're probably listening to this. Some of you guys who listen to this on Thursday. You can head over to mojobreak.com and get into. You got Chronicles Soccer. You got Chronicles Draft Picks Football 2023. And I wanted to highlight Finest Baseball. So we got Finest Baseball available. PYT at mojobreak.com. Get your teams. I'm looking over the checklist right now. 92 autograph subjects on the base list. Masataka Yoshida. I don't know. Has he had an autograph yet?
No, he has not.
So that's going to be a big one. You've got Adley Rushman. You've got Volpe. You've got the guy on the Diamondbacks as well. Corbin Carroll.
About the Cardinals.
You got Walker. You also have Kodai Senga on there as well. I don't know if these guys are going to be live or redemptions. We will see. Once again, there's no list of what redemptions. James Outman is on here as well. So it's a pretty good list. And then you got your staple baseball guys in here as well, like your Dennis Eckersley, JJ Bleday, Jose Canseco. You've got Toglia. You got Nomar Garcia-Parra. So it's kind of a mix. Giants only have one guy, Logan Webb. That's it. That's all you chase for the Giants. Giants will be a bargain team.
As a combo team.
And I'm looking right now. I'm looking at they call it 2000 Topps Finest, World's Finest. But I'm assuming these are all guys that were on WBC teams. I don't know if these are official World Baseball Classic. But we don't have any autos of the recent World Baseball Classic yet, so that might be our first look at that.
Is it
I don't know.
From the 2010 WBC, or is it current WBC?
No, well, it's all current players. Cedric
But it's a
Mullins,
2000
JT
design.
Realmuto. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
2010
Yeah.
design?
2000 design.
2000 design.
Right. So I don't think it's that, but also it's all WBC players, so it might be.
Yeah, and it looks like Trout and Ohtani are not in the base set, but they will be in the insert sets. The finest autograph, what he just mentioned, Topps Finest World autographs. You're going to have Trout. You also have the finest headliners, where you'll find Shohei Ohtani as well. Finest moments autographs are back as well with Pete Alonso, Julio Rodriguez. So you got a lot of chase here. You got superfractors to chase. They have original buybacks: Barry Larkin, Chipper Jones, David Wright, Frank Thomas, Hideki Matsui, Miguel Tejada, Trevor Hoffman, Torrey Glavine. So lots of stuff. I think it's a fun set. You're looking at 2 autos per box. Right? Is it 2 autos? Yeah. 2 autos per box, 1 each mini box. So 16 autos in the case. 8-box case break. So and on card, and this is it's a staple set. So I think ever since we've been breaking, there's always been a finest release. So
it is for baseball. It's a top 5. I always love Topps Finest.
Yeah, not a lot of base, but enough base.
Perfect amount of base.
Perfect amount of base. I got my 1993 Barry Bonds, one near and dear to my heart, that I have from one of the original finest releases. So we'll get into that this week. And I wanted to mention 2023 Chronicles. C-Red, you stumbled upon something on the sell sheet, which is interesting. So 2023 Chronicles Draft Picks football's coming out. And we know looming is Will Levis, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. Probably not going to have autographs, but what did it say in the sell sheet?
It says, look for a gold vinyl Bryce Young autograph.
A.
Oh.
Look for A.
Singular.
So, seems like they got one of them in there.
Only.
What it tells me is they are using whatever autos they have left very sparingly,
They're
and
being mindful about not overpopulating
Exactly.
the market.
there's that too.
Real mindful.
Yeah.
I mean, they did quietly release those licensed autos through Panini Instant, which was 125 Bryce Young Panther autographs. I think there was no Will Levis, but there was 351 Strouds.
Sure there was no Will Levis?
Only 125.
Sure there
Now,
was no Will Levis?
No,
now,
'cause they never had to deal with them to begin with.
even though they had, I don't know, just bring that up. Even though they have leftover stickers of these guys from the collegiate products that they did, how are they able to make NFL?
Well, it's not. It's collegiate.
No, I thought it's them in their pro uniform.
Oh, those ones, I don't know. Well, how they advertise it, this is the first time I've ever seen this, is it said Bryce Young autograph to 125, but then the picture showed Bryce Young, and it said player signature. So maybe that was their way of getting around.
What? I mean, but they paid. This is obviously probably stickers from the NIL deal.
Yep.
Yeah.
They paid for that inventory. So
No,
so
they own those autographs.
Why can't they use them?
Well, who knows the stipulation? What he's saying, the stipulation of NFL license version of them.
Because I think maybe now maybe we get some insight. Maybe it's only like you can't have on-card autos of these kids or something.
Or you can't put them in releases, but you can have like instant cards. They just can't be released in products.
Well,
We're seeing it with 2023 though, but it is collegiate. So I don't know. Weird and wacky times. Only time will tell. I think it's just going to take some time.
Well, it's a shame that Panini didn't get any sticker autos of Victor Wembanyama.
I mean, I had an idea. I was like, what if they were able to buy a signed Victor Wembanyama jersey and take that autograph and cut it and put it into a patch? Could that?
What if they were able?
For like eminence or something?
Yeah, it's just like they buy it and it's like signed on the patch. They cut that part of the jersey up, put it in there. They use the rest of the jersey for all the regular cards.
What if you go one step further and what if you just buy
Topps
a bunch
cards?
of Bowman's Best Wembanyama autos that have stickers and just like cut the sticker out?
Well, then you're Super Break.
I know. I was gonna say. I'm all that. That isn't. I'm bringing it up because it's something that we have seen in the past.
Look, Scott Allen got hired by Panini America. No, yeah.
No, we've seen it before, and Super Break is still around to tell about it. I mean, it didn't have a great response.
Nah, it was great. God, I love that company. It's so funny. It's a lot of good fodder with those guys.
There's releases. You look on the calendar, and it's pretty consistent. So
they're hustling.
somebody out there is buying it.
They're hustling.
Somebody's buying it. Who's buying it?
Select Basketball came out last week as well. I did want to mention before we could jump back into the other new releases that I was talking to you guys off of the air, but man, it felt like such a big opportunity to do XRCs for Select. I mean, Select is affordable, which is good. So that's the one good thing is it's not $1,000 a box anymore. It's like what, $400 right now?
Barely
$350.
Basketball?
Yeah.
$350.
$350.
What a deal.
Okay,
It's
so
the best deal in the hobby.
That's a great deal, but there's no other Optic. You go Panini One needed downtowns. Well, you can't because they have it in Optic. You'd be like Select needed XRCs. You can't say, well, they put it in another product. They don't. They don't put XRCs in any basketball product.
But maybe it's part of their license or player agreement that they can't do XRCs.
Maybe for basketball. Maybe.
We don't know.
or they don't want to devalue
Because they used to
Prism?
do it for basketball. The last year I remember them doing XRCs, and then it wasn't even in Select. But the last year they did XRCs for basketball, I believe, was
12,
that
13?
2014, 2015 year.
No, it was the 12-13 because of the strike season. I think they did it.
No, the 2014 they had. You're okay. You're right. Because the 2013 season had XRCs for Andrew Wiggins' rookie year, and I think that was the last time they did XRCs.
Did they have for which product?
It was for 13, 14.
Gold standard.
Not innovation. It was 13, 14 intrigue, and there was basketball XRCs.
That was a good one.
Yeah, there was
Bring it back.
There was XRCs for first pick, second pick, third pick, fourth pick, fifth pick for basketball
Did
for the following
Intrigue
year.
have the glass card?
Mm-hmm.
Intrigue did
Stained
it?
glass.
No, there was one that had like a glass card that was already had that was in like a sleeve, but it was in the.
That was
Well,
an
Absolute
intrigue.
had a redemption for it.
That was an
but-
intrigue.
No. There was It was already. It was a pre-sleeve.
Intrigue was the one that
glass
had
card.
the extra pack, and it was all just like the base.
Oh,
Like, it was
oh,
like
yeah.
their face.
It had like it was like silver. They were
Silver,
all
yeah.
silver, and then they're like you get a
Oh
gold
yeah,
one.
yeah. There was a gold every once in a
Yeah.
while. Yeah, I do remember that one. But I remember the 10-11 season had the XRCs for the 12th, like Kyrie and stuff, because they were technically 10-11 rookies, but since there was no products being made, they put it all in 12-13 when the season came back as a strike. But so we also got Chronicle Soccer. It seems to be hot, or already pre-selling well at Mojobreak.com. And am I forgetting one? There's Chronicles Draft, Chronicles Soccer, Finest Baseball, and one more, right?
It's not a big of a deal. It was released Select H2,
Select H2 as well.
and then Overtime Finest with the Thompson brothers.
Oh, they're still making overtime, huh?
Yeah, Overtime Finest. on
Yeah.
Friday.
Overtime
Top's
finest.
finest.
Top's
OTE.
finest. OTE.
Again, with the Thompson twins.
But they're exclusive to Panini. How are we doing this?
Well, this is probably the last one, I would imagine.
I would imagine, yeah.
They're like, please.
What a
buy it.
time.
Man,
What a
it's
time.
The trading card wars. We'll have to write a movie about this at some point once it's all said and done.
Oh, somebody has to do it. At least put a documentary together. Interview all the big players.
We get invited to that.
Michael Room is definitely not
No.
going to be in it. He's going to be at the white party.
I'll still be wearing all white for our
We
interview.
we better open up that spam folder.
Yeah.
Make sure. Just
The all white party, I mean.
Just to make sure, yeah. Maybe I didn't check my DMs. Maybe he DM'd me.
directly. It just slid right in.
But, I
Didn't see
mean,
you at the white party.
Yeah, I mean,
I only have beige.
I think Backyard was there, though. I think they were there. They were at the white party.
Probably not.
Topps MVP buyback will return. So they're going to be doing that again. I thought that was a good hit.
That is great, and I love that the fact that there's going to be like the speculation, right?
oh, yeah, we didn't really get into it. I mean, we talked outside of the
I mean,
podcast.
AL is pretty much set, barring injury.
Well,
Come
yeah.
on,
no,
man.
No. You're right, barring injury, because did you see Shohei got taken out of the game yesterday?
But there's nobody better.
And Trout's out
He
too.
is the
Trout's out
greatest.
too.
It's safe to say he is the greatest baseball player that we've ever seen.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think it's controversial.
So it'll be it'll be the MVPs from this year, right?
Right. Probably.
so Ohtani.
Ohtani and Acuna is probably the leader in the clubhouse right now.
So Ohtani might be a little banged up,
Blister in his middle finger.
and Trout is going to be out for a little while.
Hamate bone fracture.
So the Angels,
Joe Adell,
they were
help us.
climbing up, sniffing the playoffs, and it's a no-go.
Save us, Joe Adell.
Did you guys hear this story before we end the show? About courtesy of Sports Collectors Daily. This is actually from a few weeks ago. But did you guys hear about Yogi Berra's rings and Roger Maris's awards? So they were missing. They were stolen in numerous heists of treasured museums. They had been stolen, and the people that got them melted them
Oh,
to sell the raw materials.
no, I think I missed this.
Yeah, so eight. It looks like 8. Is it 8 out of 9 of his championship rings were melted down?
That is awful.
Can you imagine? What's the value of a ring compared to it melted down? But I guess if you're a thief, you're gonna get caught if it's not melted down, right? So
That's what it is, because I'm sure the ring itself would have been worth as
Way
much,
more.
if not more.
Way more.
Yeah, way more as it was. But
How
yeah,
do you melt down a metal with like a like a torch, like
It says
a blowtorch.
It includes 8 of 9 World Series rings, 7 other championship rings, and 2 MVP plaques presented to Barra, which were housed in Barra Museum and Learning Center in New Jersey. Before, they were stolen in 2014, and they just solved the case now.
Wow.
That they finally found out that the 2016 burglary and Maris's stuff was stolen from there as well. And
So they caught the people.
yes. They caught him. All 4 men were charged with substantial counts of theft of major artwork and concealment of disposal of objects of cultural heritage. So,
rip.
yeah, I mean, that's crazy. So, I mean, those are probably like 6-figure pieces of memorabilia
Easily.
that were sold for whatever the metal is worth. I mean, that's insanity. That sucks. to have
Probably for
those.
like what I'm guessing is like they probably got like 10K out that.
Probably nothing.
Yeah.
But it's just like if you were to steal a 1-of-1 card, what are you going to do with it?
You're telling
Melt
me
it
that-
down.
Melt it down.
Yeah. Melt it down. You're telling me that there's not like a
If you're
guy.
a true collector, you're gonna stare at that forever.
Right. Well, but people steal for money, I'm assuming, right? So you can't turn that into money unless you do something with it. So
Yeah.
Wow, we closed the show out on a real high note.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just shocked there's not like a guy on the black market you could have found who would have been like, yeah, I won't tell anyone that these are Yogi Berra's 8 World Series rings, and I'll give you market value for it.
Just
sure.
a wheelbarrow full of precious
Yeah,
metals
there's-
that's been melted down into just a
there's
giant
got to be
ball.
like somebody like overseas
Somebody.
or something, right?
These guys probably weren't too bright.
No, that's really what it
They
is.
were bright enough to figure out how to melt it down.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
have you seen like the MVP trophies? They're big.
They are big. Well, those World Series rings back then probably
No, I'm
are
talking
not
about the
nearly
MVP,
big.
MVP,
The MVP
trophies.
are big.
They were always pretty big. Like,
Yeah.
you can't sit there with like a soldering iron and just hold it to it. It's gonna take a while.
Yeah.
Panini signed the first high school player to a card deal.
Yeah, we saw.
Trey
I
Johnson.
saw
You guys
that.
talked about that one.
Baby Gronk?
I know.
We didn't really talk about the.
What was that whole thing
Oh,
that
God.
we did a couple like
We don't
you,
need. We don't. We don't.
you,
need to
I
bring
mean
this
you
back
the-
up
the-
again.
the
We don't need to bring
Riz-
this up
the
again.
Riz and the say it, Cody.
Riz King,
I actually used Riz the other day.
Baby
on the cruise.
Gronk.
Was it
Livy, rizzed up, Baby Gronk.
Yes. So Livy is a person, correct?
Livy's a person.
I think she is dating or been seen hanging around with the great Chase Elliott.
Wait, is that for real?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow. Only you would know.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
Wow.
Gronk, the real Gronk.
Is suing.
Yes. And he said he came out.
Wait, he's suing Baby Gronk?
Yeah.
I think he might have been half joking, but
He
he's
said
like,
that
I'm getting a little
He
annoyed.
confirmed what you were saying, that he's like, the father is the most annoying person in the world. He's like, he DMs me like hundreds of times. And he's like, he just
Just to
talks
get like a shout out or
just
something.
to get like some kind of approval for the name or whatever. And he was talking to somebody in Bleacher. I think it was either Bleacher or Barstool put it out there, and he was like, "Man, this guy needs to go a different route to promote his son. He's really annoying. He's really brash and stuff like that." So
Yeah, I genuinely feel bad
How
for
about
the
the
kid when I saw his
definition
dad.
of clout chasing right there? Then
Yep.
yeah. Well, guys, hopefully we'll see you guys at the National. Once again, if you want to go to the coolest party of the National, we're doing our kickoff party on Thursday of the National. What's the date on that? Is that July 27th? July 27th.
Yep.
And it starts at 6. So right when the National winds down, head over to our party. We're going to have a karaoke contest. We're going to have special guests in the building. We're going to do a lot of giveaways as well. There's going to be drinks. There's going to be food. The guest list is already getting close to being full. So if you're interested in going to the best party at the National, hit us up. Go to our Facebook community and message us because there's a special link for you to get in. It's free to get in, but you got to RSVP. And like I said, we're more than halfway full on our 150 capacity. So make sure you guys message us. If you want to go to the coolest party at the National, you're going to be in Chicago for the National. Come by and see us. We're going to have special guests at the building. We're going to be giving away stuff. I think at least the grand prize for the karaoke contest is going to be a National Treasures box. So, you know, if you got the voice, you think you can win, we're going to have judges. Send us a DM for that. If you're like, I want in on this karaoke contest, I am the next songbird of my generation, and I'm ready to go on there and sing Fergie's national anthem in front of a whole group of Mojobreak collectors.
Yes!
And if you're ready to do that, then come on in and you know, if you're a bad singer, maybe you make it more entertaining.
Yo.
We're gonna vote on all kinds of scales.
Yo, if you don't sing as good as Will Ferrell and Step Brothers, don't even apply.
Which song was that? That was
I think it was Bonnie Raitt, I believe.
The one that he was saying.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll give him some.
Oh, who's that
to
one?
talk about.
No. Not even. I'm not even talking
No,
about. I'm
that's-
talking
You're
about
talking
the.
about
I'm talking about the
Andrea
song in the
Bocelli
bedroom.
Yeah. Oh, that one. Okay. I thought you were talking about when it's like Catalina Wine Mixer.
No,
yeah,
no.
Okay.
No, I think Doug was just singing it. That's
Yeah,
it.
no, yes, that's what he said.
Live. Yeah, that's good.
I think it,
Yeah. So I mean,
is that Bonnie Raitt?
Let's give them something to try. I have to
I
get
mean,
back to that.
if I got that right, that is great knowledge.
let's
Yeah.
let's give them. It's by Bonnie Raitt.
Yep,
It's
good
correct.
call, Dan.
Yep,
Great
He's
job.
got it.
How do I do it?
So yeah, make sure you join the Hype Facebook community. If you want into the party, let us know. Also, we're gonna have if you don't get there Thursday, you're getting there Friday for the weekend. We're also gonna have our booth. We're gonna have limited edition shirts. We're gonna have free stuff to give away. Sign up for a chance at a free break if you want to get into a free break, or you're at least gonna get like either a free pack or a heavy discount code if you're at the National. So come by our booth, say hi. I think we're gonna do guest opportunities or meet and greets with C-Rad as well, so we'll have specific times for that on one of those days as well, so if you want to book that in advance. So and this, I don't know what his fee's going to be, but he'll have a fee, so we'll talk about that soon. We'll give him something to talk about, but we'll see you guys on the next show. Mojobreak.com is the site for your breaks. Mojobreakshop.com for your sealed wax, and get into Finest. Check it out. Chase some superfractors, and we'll see you guys next week on the Hype. Peace.